Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for June 23, 2023, the Deleted Messages Edition. And we begin with that story from the Wall Street Journal, Risk and Compliance Journal. Richard Vandeford reporting that JPMorgan will pay over $4 million for deleted messages. The brokerage arm of the company is in a settlement with the SEC over the accidental deletion of some 47 million electronic messages it was supposed to retain. While trying to clear a backlog of communications in the 70s, back to the 1970s, JPMorgan inadvertently wiped the messages. The deletion took place in 2019, violating rules requiring brokers to retain certain communications. And the JPMorgan reported this, and the SEC investigated and levied this fine. Next up, also from Wall Street Journal, and indeed all our stories today come from the Wall Street Journal, Twitter shows a strong willingness to comply with digital content law, a EU regulator says. The EU Commissioner for Internal Market gave this assessment after the EU team visited Twitter's headquarters in San Francisco for a stress test to determine how well the platform would comply with the new law, which comes into force beginning in August. Very interesting that Twitter actually shows a strong willingness to comply with EU laws, but welcome nevertheless. I hope everyone has now heard something about our next story, and that is the Manhattan lawyer or New York City lawyer who filed a brief which was developed by ChatGPT. Unfortunately, the cases cited by ChatGPT in the lawyer's brief, I should say in the lawyer's brief, not ChatGPT brief, were fake. And it has caused some kerfuffle. Well, now the judge imposed a $5,000 fine on the lawyers for doing so. And he castigated the lawyers in his order, saying that it promotes cynicism about the legal profession and the American judicial system. Indeed, as another sanction, the judge dismissed the plaintiff's lawsuit, although on other grounds. So if you use GPT to help you write a brief, be sure and check the citations, or check the citations before you sign anything. And finally, the Microsoft Activision Blizzard hearing begins today, where the FTC is opposing the merger. So it's going to be interesting, and we'll be following that here on the Daily Compliance News. I hope you have a great weekend. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.